Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 146.
Woo!
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm, and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Howdy do, Who fans. It's another week on the podcast.
Yeah.
146.
I should have gone 146, shouldn't I, in the intro?
Yes.
Yes.
With a female voice.
146.
Very good. You've been practicing.
I have all week.
Welcome aboard. We got some. Do you know what, mate? I'm not looking forward to doing the news today.
Oh.
I'm really not.
We've just had a very last minute bit of news come in, haven't we? Which is a bit sad.
It is sad.
Mm-hmm.
I choked as well.
You did?
When I said to you, I said, this has just landed in the inbox, and it's really sad.
But yeah, we took a moment.
We took a moment, yes. It's not all sad news, but a few bits of sad news, a couple of bits of merch, and then we're out of the Moth trilogy zone.
Yes.
We're back into singular adventures.
Yeah.
Which has been one of the best things about Series 10, really.
Yeah, it's nice to get back to those, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like to this week's or last week's. Yeah. God, it's all time you want, isn't it? Yeah, nice standalone story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Good to have that back.
It's the hot and cold hit and miss Mark Gatiss, though.
I know.
So that's a thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Mark, he is a bit hit and miss.
We're on first names, aren't we?
Yeah, Mark. Well, he does listen. The thing is with Mark is, obviously the last one he did was Sleep No More, and we all know that he wanted to do a Sleep No More Part 2. And the only reason he didn't is because I think he's saying this is his last Doctor Who story for a while.
It is. Yeah.
And so he said to them off, didn't he, can I do the one I really want to do instead, which was an Ice Warrior story. So he's really only done it because like the Moth and Capaldi are leaving and he thought he'd get in there before. Sounds like he's leaving as well, although I don't know. I think he might come back to us at some point, but doesn't sound like we're going to get a Mark Gatiss story for a while. So, yeah.
It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have wanted a Sleep No More Part 2 anyway, would you? But part of me wonders, where was he going to go with that? Like, how would that have worked? There's part of me that's intrigued by it. I mean, I thought it was a rubbish episode, but there is part of me that's intrigued by where Mark would have gone with that story. But we'll get on to the review, but I'm glad we got the Ice Warrior one instead.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I don't know for certain, but I think Sleep No More we absolutely destroyed on the podcast.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was very good, and you absolutely hated it, I think, if memory recalls.
Yes.
I don't know if you've got our scores there, but...
Yeah, I think I used those words as well.
I you really hated it. I mean, I didn't think much to it. I remember thinking there was like quite a cool little concept buried in there somewhere, but yeah, you really didn't like it, I remember.
Yeah. I can't even find it.
No, it was pretty low. I have a feeling you gave it like 2 or 3 or something like that. It was a very low score.
Yeah. So here we go. So I gave it a 1.
A 1?
Yeah.
There you go. Probably the lowest you've ever scored anything then.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And you gave it a 4.5, so you weren't scoring it very highly either.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even even that seems too high looking back on it. I think if I was to review that again, yeah, it was dreadful. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, it did come after the amazing Zygon inversion episode.
Yeah, see, I really liked that two-parter. I remember at the time thinking it was a real, a gem.
It was brilliant.
Two-part, that one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, we gave it 9s. 9.5 for me, that one.
I'll be interested to get when we get to our review of this week's, because, again, the feedback's been a little bit mixed, but it's been fairly positive, I think, on this week's. But, yeah, not all positive. And I've certainly got a few bits to say on this week's story, so I'm looking forward to getting to that one.
I love that. Well, I've certainly got some things to say about this.
A few things to get on my chest about this one.
Why about that?
But I'll hold it back till we get to the review.
Have you done anything cool Who-wise this week, or have you been lazy?
No, not Who-wise. No, I went to a convention on Sunday, but it was a Blake 7 convention.
I saw
but
Blake.
It was in honour of Gareth Thomas, who played Blake.
Oh, yeah.
Who passed last year. And, of course, I'm always grateful because me and you did get to meet him, didn't we, at a Doctor Who
that was weird.
convention in Chiswick. Yeah, it was very strange because I met Gareth many years ago, and he's a really lovely bloke. And I got an autograph, but I never got a picture with him. And as anybody who knows me will know, I have this thing that I like to have an autograph and a photo. Otherwise, have to have the two. So it was bugging me for years that I hadn't got a picture of Gareth, because Blake 7, I'm sorry to tell you this, Doctor Who listeners, is my all-time favourite show. Doctor Who scrapes in a very close second. But so, yeah, I always wanted a picture with him. And then we were going to a Chiswick signing, weren't we? Phantom one.
That's right. Yep.
And, yeah, he just got added last minute. Mm-hmm. And I think, I was obviously thrilled. I remember sort of saying to you, Blake's going to be there. And you were just like, and because you're not a Blake 7, you're probably thinking, yeah. But I was really chuffed because, I was thinking, right, cool, I'll actually finally be able to get a picture. And you took said picture, didn't you? You took a picture of us together. And then sadly, he passed away about 7 or 8 months after that event. But yeah, it was very random because Gareth was never in Doctor Who. Michael Keating, who starred in, I think, every episode of Blake 7, was in Doctor Who, so you got that connection. And I know Tom Baker got a few mentions at the convention this weekend, because I think their paths crossed a few times at different things. And as I said, Michael Keating was in The Sunmakers with Tom Baker and that. So there's always been this sort of loose connection with Doctor Who. And obviously it was Blake 7 was written by Terry Nation, who, of course, wrote for Doctor Who and created the Daleks. So there's all these connections. But, Gareth Thomas was never actually in it, which is a shame because he's a great actor.
There was an actress who was in it who was also in The Two Doctors.
Oh, yes, that's right. Jacqueline Pierce.
That's right.
Yeah. She plays Servalan in Blake 7. And, yes, she was... what was the character's name in Two Doctors? Santani? No.
Whatever her name was.
Yeah. Listeners will know. So yeah, there's always there's all these loose connections and lots of the directors and stuff, and they all worked on the same show. So yeah, I went to that. It was really good. It was lots of stories being told about Gareth, and I got to have a really long chat with June Hudson, who's the costume designer on Blake 7, and also she did loads for Doctor Who.
Right.
She most famously created Tom's burgundy outfit for his last series. And I had a really lovely chat with her. I've met her once before. She's just such a lovely woman. We were just chatting. But the reason I mention it is because she was talking about how fun it was to work on Doctor and Blake 7 back in the day. And you got that from the cast. They were like, we all took it really seriously when the cameras were rolling, but as soon as they stopped, we all just had such a laugh. And he's saying, he said, I don't want to be like, the good old days, but it's not like that now. He said, you sort of go in, you give him the script. He said, back then we were just like, it was just like a massive family. It's like we all went out drinking, and so they had loads of stories to tell. Like Paul Darrow was saying he saw Tom Baker recently in the Big Finish studio, and they were having a laugh and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, you just get this real warmth about this sort of 70s, 80s era of television from what they were saying. And, I could just picture it all. And what they did, they started moaning about the BBC bar, BBC Canteen, the infamous BBC Canteen.
Yeah.
There was some funny story about that. I can't remember what it was. And then they were like, you do realise that the original dinner lady is in the room today, and they were like, they were laughing, thinking it was, they were joking, but she actually was. They pointed her. She's actually stood by the door, and she didn't look very happy.
Oh.
So I think they were moaning about soggy bean, pudding or something. I don't know, because they were saying one of the cast got banned from the BBC canteen for being rude about the food or something. But yeah, she was actually there, and it was a really good day, mate. I enjoyed it. So not technically a Doctor Who event, but there was certainly
close enough.
Yeah, there was bits of Doctor Who mentioned, and Tom Baker was mentioned a few times. There was quite a few stories about him, actually. So yeah, it was really, really good. So I haven't really done anything else Doctor Who wise, apart from, and this is very loosely connected, and I am well, what's the saying? I'm well behind in joining this group, but I finally started watching Broadchurch.
Oh, wow.
From Series 1. I never watched it because I kept missing it, and I thought I won't know what's going on. So I've gone back to Series 1 of Broadchurch this week, and I've been box setting it and watching 3 or 4 episodes at a time. And I'm sure our listeners know, but just in case they don't, the connection is, of course, the amazing David Tennant. Mm-hmm. He is so good in it.
He is, isn't
He's
he? Yep.
just brilliant in it. Yeah, I'm just, the whole time I'm watching it, because he's playing quite a sort of grumpy, very dishevelled cop, policeman in it. I just keep thinking, he's just such a good actor, and I just keep thinking of him as the Doctor. And I was thinking, actually, I kind of wish he'd brought a bit of that to his Doctor, that sort of slightly less comedic, this more sort of, no nonsense. I suppose he was a bit more like that towards the end, but yeah. So I've been watching that, and I've just finished Series 1, so that's cool. But so nothing Doctor Who wise, but lots of Doctor Who connections this week for me.
Nice.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, not much really. Talking of Blake 7, actually, I'm going to have to make the effort and at least watch, the first series or whatever of that. But I remember the first time you guys telling me about it. It was at a convention at the Windsor Hotel. No, not the Windsor Hotel. In Windsor.
Oh, Slough. Yeah.
Or Slough, yeah. What was the name of the hotel? It was I think it was Day of the Doctors.
Oh yeah.
And we had done a bunch of stuff, so we'd already met a few people and had pictures and stuff, and we were at the bar having some drinkies. So this was like 1 or 2 pints in.
Yeah.
And you had said to me, well, you're going to have to bear with Blake 7, because after the first series, Blake just doesn't come back. The actor who played Blake got the ump and didn't want to come back and reprise his role, so he's only in it for one series, and that had me laughing. So, listeners, I
guess I don't want to give away too much, just in case you ever watch it. No, he's in 2 series. I did 4 series of Blake 7, and he, massive spoiler, he's not in the final 2 series, but it's still called Blake 7. But it's funny because, well, the thing is with Blake 7, I suppose.
Here we go.
I love it because I grew up with it. It had a worse budget than Doctor Who. I mean, the effects and spaceships in it, a lot of people will just laugh at them now. But the thing is about it is the characters, mate. That's why I say you can't just, if you dip into 1 or 2, you might just think, well, what's good about it? But if you watch it from the start and you get to know the characters, that's what makes the show. The characters in it are just brilliant. But yeah, I'm not going to say much more about Blake because I don't want to ruin it. If anyone ever does decide to give it a go, yourself included, you'll see.
Oh, mate, it was so funny.
We'll see what happens to Blake.
Yeah, and I can't sort of put this across succinctly to our listeners, but I laughed so hard at that I almost stopped breathing for a few seconds, and then I had to stop what I was doing, go to the toilet, I think, and then it was just the funniest thing to me. It's just the way you said it as well. So I'll have to make the effort. And
I always say watch it from the start, though. Yeah. I mean, they are standalone episodes, but you get to know the people as you watch it from the beginning. That's why I like it. But one day put it on your list.
One day,
your long list of many things to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've not been up to much, mate. I'm talking of this is kind of a weird link, but I've had a bit of a Tennant week, if you like.
Have you?
Yeah, I started a bit of a 10th Doctor marathon.
Oh yes, I saw actually.
Yeah, so so the Christmas Invasion.
I really like that one.
Yeah, do you know what? It's not Christmas, but sod it.
Even though he spends half of it in bed, I really like that story. Yeah.
And I watched right through until The Army of Ghosts.
Oh, blimey, I haven't watched that for a long time.
Yeah, we haven't reviewed it yet, so keep stum.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We haven't done that one, have we? No. We have reviewed New Earth, though, which is not great.
That isn't...
Yeah, it's not one of the better ones. What's the one after it? The monk one or the werewolf one? That's not bad. That's good.
Tooth and Claw.
Which we've reviewed. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great series, yeah.
Yeah, series 2. It's a bit of a... Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? Has that got the... what's he called? The satanic one in space, the devil episode, because that was quite good, I remember.
Yeah, The Beast Below, was it?
Yeah. No, actually, I should say, we haven't done that one, have we? Yeah.
No, we haven't. But yeah, it was just really great. And I think I remember tweeting out saying every time I go back and start watching from series 1, but definitely series 2, I really, really miss that RTD era.
Yeah, I see you were missing Russell.
Yeah, I think it's just my favourite era of Who, that from series 1 through to series 4 and the specials, I suppose. Pre-Moth, pre-convoluted stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I particularly like series 4.
Yeah, which is a shame because I love Matt Smith. I think he's such a great Doctor. And but anyway, so I had a bit of a marathon, the old 10th Doc, and I caught up with a little bit of Big Finish. Listened to The Eternal Battle.
Which Doctor's that?
It's the 4th Doctor, so it's range 6, so it's 6 point.
Oh golly, we're already on 6.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So the one before it was very cool, The Beast of Kravanos. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
So this one, it wasn't as good as that one, but it was a decent listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just going through and because I'm very behind. Well, Big Finish.
I'm massively behind on those 4th Doctor ones. I think I've only got the first 3 series. I want them all.
They're really good. Yeah.
I know.
Romana, yeah, those two they're very, very good on BF. Yeah.
I really must get you into the 8th Doctor adventures. So not the monthly range, but the 8th Doctor adventures. So they're basically like the 4th Doctor ones, but the 8th Doctor. So they were sort of 45 minutes to an hour standalone stories, single releases. With Sheridan Smith as Lucy Bleeding Miller. I'll tell you, mate, I think there's 4 series of that, and it kind of leads into Dark Eyes after that. They are great fun. And the end of series 4 really ups the ante. It's so good. I must get you into those. You'd love them.
Okay, so you're thinking of things like To the Death and...
To the Death is just, my jaw was on the floor at the end of it.
Right.
I was like, no, what? And it leads very nicely into Dark Eyes. And also, there's a little special release they did in the middle of it. I think it's called An Earthly Child, which actually fitted really well into that range. And it kind of gets overlooked because it wasn't in the 4th series, if you know what I mean, but it sort of was a special that was set in the middle of it. And it's quite important,
right?
I think it adds to what happens at the end of the series. So I always say, don't forget that one because it can be a bit overlooked because it's sort of not in there officially, if you like. But that's a great little story as well. It's got Caroline Ford in it and Susan and the 8th Doctor together, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, when you finish your 4th Doctor in 2020, whatever, start on the 8th Doctor stories because they're really good. As I said, they sort of build brilliantly towards the final at the end. Yeah. Okay. To the death. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I do remember having a breeze through those ages ago and thinking some of them look quite good. Yeah, I think there was one called The 8 Truths that looked quite good. I can't remember
that one.
Yeah. And one thing that I really, really wanted to check out as well, remember when I was skimming through thinking, ooh, that looks good, is The Vengeance of Morbius.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much. I'll have to revisit some of the 8th Doctor stuff because I tell you what, he's fantastic. I mean, Paul McGann's such a brilliant actor. But on Big Finish, it's almost like there's no difference between TV and audio. He's just seamless, just perfect.
Oh, you'd love those because, as I said, there's some great stories in the monthly range. So, like Chimes at Midnight, we mentioned the other week, is a brilliant story, and so there's some really good ones. But the monthly range, they went into this divergent universe at one point, which got a bit messy. Right. Whereas the the sort of standalone Eighth Doctor adventures, they're kind of just little one-off stories like the Fourth Doctor ones, and you can just sort of listen to them. It is good to listen to them in order because, as I said, they really build up to a great climax into the death. But yeah, you can just kind of dip into them. I think there's one called Horror of Glam Rock or something, which is quite good fun. So yeah, I recommend those, mate, when you get time, if you get time.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love Paul McGann. Oh, so good.
You'll love them.
Strange little link. There's obviously a show for weird links this week, but as a very weird, quick little link before we move on to the news, Johnny Depp has been announced as appearing at Glastonbury.
Oh dear!
Not singing or in a band or anything, but he's on a stage and he's going to talk through and screen some of his favourite films. I think there's like 2 or 3 of his all-time favourites. And With Nail and I is his all-time favourite.
Oh really?
Film, yeah. So if you're a fan of McGann and you haven't seen With Nail and I, crikey.
I do love that film.
Go and check it out. It's an amazing
film. It's a strange film, but it's so good.
Yeah.
I wonder where you're going with that. I'm not a fan of Johnny. I'm so crazy. Look at me, Depp. I'm just not a fan of him at all. But that is a great film.
Anyways, I think we should land the TARDIS and do some news.
Yeah, let's get into the news.
First up, Lie of the Land.
I must be half asleep. I've just read that as La La Land. What's going on?
Not on this show.
Sorry. Not on this show.
No. The Lie of the Land. Confirmed ratings.
Any good?
Now, at first glance, you would think not good at all.
Oh.
Because we're last in the list.
Oh, no, are we?
Number 30.
Oh, my goodness.
With just 4.8 mil viewers.
Dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Now, when I heard this, I thought, it's not that bad. I know the moths kind of crucify things a little bit, but come on, it isn't that bad. But there are 2 very good reasons for this figure. The first one is that it was the Britain's Got Talent final. So they moved it. I think they moved it from the Sunday night to the Saturday night.
Right. They did, yeah.
Yes. And so that's the first thing. So Britain's Got Talent is always going to pull in the most in terms of ratings anyway. So it was the final, so you'd expect, a very, very big jump in ratings for those guys, which didn't help. And then the second thing was that we had the One Love Manchester concert.
Right, which is obviously at the top, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is way at the top. 11, nearly 12 million viewers for that one. So you can kind of understand it. You can understand why. And also the Britain's Got Talent, because it was sort of segmented into so many shows. You had the different talent result shows and all that sort of thing. It's eaten up all of the slots, if you like, because well,
this is ridiculous. Yeah, it's got 11. Is it 11 or 12 slots? So if you take them out,
yeah, exactly.
Britain's Got Talent, the result. I mean, how many times did they announce the result? Because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was segmented into different slots, if you like, or different. Yeah. So that's the thing. So on first glance, you might think, "Oh, crikey, this is not good for who," but there's just no competing with those, unfortunately.
No, that's yeah. Did we beat Antiques Roadshow?
We did.
Okay,
yes.
Then it's fine.
Yeah. So obviously, Corrie and Emmerdale and EastEnders are just slightly above us. Although we did beat one episode of EastEnders.
Oh, good.
Because there's only 4 in the top 30, and there's obviously 5 in a week, so there must be below number 30 somewhere.
Yeah.
And but Corrie's still way at the top, and obviously the One Love Manchester concert, you'd expect everyone to sort of tune in and support that. So not great at face value, but not sort of terrible in its own, it's not its fault, if you like. It's nothing to do with an atrocious story or anything.
Yeah, if you put it into, I was going to say, on first glance, it looks bad. If you put it into context, I suppose, if you gave Coronation Street one, if you put an average of those 5 blocks that it's got, if you took all of this out of it, it'd probably move up into just outside the top 10.
Yes,
because Emmerdale's got 5 slots, Coronation Street's got 5 slots. So yeah, okay, it does look bad when you look at the list, but when you sort of look at it like that, not too bad. I mean, it wasn't a great conclusion, was it? But yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. And also in the previous weeks where we've discussed ratings, there's always been like various news programs, Antiques Roadshow, various different shows that were in there, and they're not in here at all. So actually, who's done okay? It was just up against some stiff competition.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so, okay, in other news, the Doctor Who Experience are looking for summer hosts. So basically, there's some jobs going in Cardiff if you're looking for a job, and I can't think of a better place to work myself. Wow. I'd love to go and work it. I don't know if I'd get any work done, though, would you? I'd just be walking around it endlessly taking photos. But if you fancy a job at the Doctor Who Experience, the closing date for applicants is the 7th of July. So you've got a couple of weeks. And they're basically looking for people with a friendly manner, tick, ability to work fast-paced, half a tick, and fluency in second language is useful. Cross. But that would be such a cool place to work, wouldn't it? I'd love to go and work there.
Oh man, yeah. It says you also need knowledge of Doctor Who.
Oh, well, that's
half
a tick.
And including the classic series Cross.
Tick.
Yeah, so it would be an amazing place to work throughout the summer. They normally do this because it's the busiest period, obviously, with families on the kids on summer holidays and families doing stuff. And Cardiff Bay is so lovely to be in the summer when the weather's nice. It's beautiful down there.
Can you imagine just on your lunch break, you can just go and sit and look at the bay? Oh, it'd be my dream job, actually.
Yeah, it's awesome. So understandably, they get a lot of people, a lot of footfall through during the summer. So they need some extra peeps. So if you're around Cardiff, you're got some time off in the summer or whatever, give it a go. You never know.
Yes.
Amazing. Yes, and we've got some other news about the experience, mate, haven't we? Yeah, you'll have to take this bit.
This brings us on to our what we were saying earlier. Just before we kicked off recording, Gary got an email from the Doctor Who Experience, which is given their final closing date, which is what we were saying earlier. Very sad news. So we've now got it officially confirmed as the last day that the Experience will be open is it September the 9th?
Yes.
9th. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it's the 19th. September the 9th will be when the Doctor Who Experience finally closes. So sad news because it is so good there, and I think they've had a real surgence in people going since they announced it was closed. I know a lot of people have said, right, let's get down there. We've got to go again, and it's sad news. I hope that it reopens somewhere or in some form because. The amount of effort that went into restoring all those classic consoles and costumes and everything. It was just, it's just a Doctor Who fan's ultimate dream place to go. It just had everything in there, from the new series to the classic series to the most amazing shop. That shop, the shop in itself was just amazing. So it's very, very sad that it's closing. It's kind of good in a way to get a final date, so we know that's how long we've got to get down there. And if you haven't been, or even if you have, I'd say get down there before it closes because they keep adding new stuff all the time. So I would love to go back. I'd go back in a heartbeat if the train fares weren't so blimmin' expensive from where I live. But I'd love to go back before it shuts. Yeah. So very sad.
It's really, really sad.
It is.
It's sad. So the 9th of September, and they've got the email was titled really sad as well. So the title at the top email says it's the end, but the moment has been prepared for.
Classic quote.
Yep, they got some other stuff going on. So they've updated the filming location tours.
Oh.
So kicking off for the summer, you've got a 75-minute official walking tour around the locations featured around Cardiff Bay. The updated tour will include locations featured in the latest TV series.
Ooh, I'd love that.
Yeah, plus iconic locations from the previous ones. There's a new Series 10 exhibition, plus the reveal of the newly restored Yeti costume.
Hey.
On the 22nd of July, there's the Cybermen invasion. So the Experience will host one of Who's Most Fearful Monsters. A day will include a talk and a QA session with the show's monster makers themselves, Millennium FX. Those guys are awesome.
Yes.
Yes. And it'll also be hosting popular Cybermen conversions, which sounds interesting. Live Cybermen, including Mondasian Cybermen, will be roaming the experience.
Oh, wow.
Plus, there'll be a screening of the series 2-parter finale.
Wow, that would be cool.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cosplay time. They're doing, on the Saturday, the 5th of August, they're doing a cosplay competition. And the final 2 weeks of the experience, it just says the final countdown. Expect the unexpected as the interactive walkthrough comes to life.
What? Whoa.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What could that mean?
Oh, man.
So lots going on to see it off.
Yeah.
So you've got up until the 9th of September when, if you think about it, it's only a few months away. So if you've just listened to this or you've seen the news and it's a case of, oh, shall we go? Shall we not? Definitely go.
Get down there.
Because once it's shut and it's gone, you'll be like, we should have gone. We should have gone. So if you're debating it and you've not, especially if you've never been before, if you've never been, you have to go.
Yeah.
When you finish listening to this podcast, go online to the website and book your tickets if you've never been before. Yes.
Yeah, can't recommend it enough. It's a brilliant place.
Yes. In further news, this is quite cool.
This is very cool. Yeah.
The Beeb have announced something called the Doctor Who Countdown Concert. So this is a special screening of episode 11 of this series, complete with a live music accompaniment of the National Orchestra of Wales. It takes place in Cardiff on June 24th. And it will be screened at Cardiff Bay. You've got the huge Wales Millennium Centre. In there, they've got something called the BBC Hodnott Hall. So in there, you're going to get a special screening of the penultimate episode of this series. And then there's going to be a Q&A with Pearl Mackie and the Moth.
No Peter.
No Peter.
Must be off filming something.
The evening will be hosted by Jason Mohammed and promises monsters and surprises. You'll be invited to submit questions to Pearl and Stephen through the website. And it'll also be streamed to the Facebook and YouTube channel for the BBC. So tickets are free and they will be allocated, but unfortunately by the time you listen to this it would have closed. So hopefully you've seen this before we've spoken about it. And you got your entry in. So if you did enter, very good luck. All you had to do was just tweet a hashtag to the BBC account, DW Finale Countdown, and that was it. So yes, hopefully some of our listeners would have got tickets. It's very limited. There's only 15 pairs.
Yeah, so, that's the bit I can't get my head around. 15?
15, yes.
Why is that? That's like so low. Is it like a press screening that they're just giving? Because the whole, it's in the Millennium Centre, I think, isn't it? Yeah, which is massive. But this is in one of the halls in there, which I think holds about 300 or so people.
More than that.
And they're and they're only giving 15 tickets away. So what's filling up the rest of the hall?
15 pairs, so 30 tickets.
Oh, 15 pairs, 30 pairs. Yeah, but even that's...
is
it just going to be all the press and freebie scroungers they're getting as well? Then it seems such a low amount to be giving away for this, which sounds like an absolutely amazing event.
Yeah, it does. I'm not sure, mate. These things are always a little bit sort of weird the way they're put together and allocated, aren't they? So I honestly don't know is the answer to that. It's but it does sound cool though. So it's
it sounds brilliant. I mean, if, like you said, if anybody listening does get a ticket, do let us know, because it's this is the penultimate episode, right? This is
episode 11
yeah.
of 12. So I think so that would be World Enough and Time.
Yeah.
And then, the last episode's The Doctor Falls.
That's it.
So, it sounds awesome. If you do get a ticket, do try and take plenty of pics and vlogs and let us know and stuff. So the last time, not the last time, but one of the best times that they've done a Doctor Who event in that hall was back in the day before we had the Doctor Who proms, I think. and all that, and the Symphonic Spectacular, all that stuff. There was an evening of Doctor Who music in that same hall, hosted by David Tennant, and it's one of the special features on. I think it's back in series when they were filming series 3, I think, or something like that. It's ages ago, sort of 2006, 7.
Yeah,
and that was a really, really good night. You can find most of it on YouTube, I think, but.
Yeah, I think I do know the one you mean, actually. Yeah, I just think it'd be a great event. You know, I'm just surprised there's so limited availability for it because, to hear that along with an orchestra. I mean, me and you've been to the proms, and just hearing the music from Doctor Who live takes it to another level. So that will be really good. So good luck to anyone that's entered.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And that's it for news.
Yep.
Mr. Tat is waiting.
How is old Dalek Tat today? Is he all right?
Yeah, he's got a bit of steam coming off him. He's a bit hot. Yeah, out in the sun. Yeah.
It is a bit hot, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's get him in, though, see what he's got.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Pop Funkos.
Yes.
You like your Pop Funkos, don't you?
I've gone off them, actually. I kind of did. I went a bit mad on them when I first started getting into them. But I don't know. I've got a bit bored of them, if I'm honest. Yeah. I do like them. Yes, I like the Doctor Who ones, or some of them. I do. So yeah. Anyway, I'll let you get the stuff off the tray first. I do the ones you're going to talk about. I think there's some good ones in there.
So you kind of like them.
I think I've just got a bit bored of them.
Right.
If you know what I mean. But I do like them, yeah.
Right. Well, this bit of merch news is handy then for people that are not bored of them and need to expand their Pop Funko Who collection. So Forbidden Planet International.
Oh, it's international, is it?
Yes. Also known as forbiddenplanet.co.uk, not forbiddenplanet.com. So .co.uk, the international guys. They've got a very cool box set. Not an official box set from Pop, but one that they've put together themselves. 6 Pop Funko figures for £36.
It's a good price.
Very good price, considering that if you bought these 6 figures individually, it would be 65 quid.
Yeah.
So pretty much 40% off. It's nearly half price, basically. So if you've not got these, so the figures are the 12th Doctor with spoon exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the black glove on with the little spoon, you know the one.
Robert Sherwood, isn't it?
Yeah. That one. We've got the 9th Doctor standard, so just holding his Sonic. We have Rose Tyler standard in a Union Jack t-shirt with the jacket. We have Jack Harkness with the Vortex Manipulator, which is an exclusive. Sarah Jane Smith, standard in the yellow and red stripy dungarees. And lastly, the 11th Doctor in the orange spacesuit as an exclusive.
Do you have any of these? Have you got any of these ones?
I've got the 11th Doctor in the spacesuit.
Oh, right.
I've not got the others.
Because I do... Yeah, it is a good set. You're right. I mean, the price is good, I think. And I really like the Sarah Jane one. I have to say, I've always liked that one. And the Doctor in the spacesuit's good, and Jack's good. So out of the set there, I mean, like you said, for 36 quid, if you're into your pops, I don't think you can go wrong with that, really. I just the 9th Doctor and Rose, I think, are a bit bland, but the other ones, I think, are actually all pretty decent. Yeah, yes. I do like the Sarah Jane one, and if you can get the K9 to go with it, they make for a great sort of set 2 on your shelf, those two.
They would indeed, yeah. And I like the Jack Harkness one.
He's cool. I do like the Jack one. Yeah.
So there you go. If you're after expanding your collection, or you just want these because you haven't got any yet, it's a great price. Pretty much half price.
It is good.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to save my money by not buying those and saving it for what the other item is on Dalek Tat's tray, which is Robert Harrop figure of a Draconian. And they've just released an image of the sort of mold for it. It's not absolutely finished yet, but it's just to give us an idea of what it's going to look like. And I don't know about you, mate, but I think he looks absolutely brilliant.
He looks completely spot on.
Yes, I love it.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously from the Pertwee era, they've got the detail looking amazing. As I said, this isn't even the finished product that we've got a picture of so far. But yeah, once again, they've done a great job on that. One of my friends was talking to me at the weekend, just saying, and this is something we've talked about, saying that they always seem to get the size of the head a bit wrong. It often look like, if you look at the Mondasian Cybermen figure they did, it's a great figure, but somehow the body looks too small for the head. And it is something I've picked up on. And we said about the Doctors, they never quite get the facial features right. But their other figures are amazing. You know, like the TARDIS, the Master, Sutek, Davros. They all look brilliant to me. And I think this is a cracker. I think this is I absolutely, well, we haven't got a price for it yet, but I'll absolutely be wanting this when he comes up for pre-order. So, yes, looking good. I love the fact that they've started posting these pictures on their Facebook page of the process of the figures, going from the mold to being painted to the finished product. It just is great to see how they actually, where they start and where they end up. It's really cool.
It's amazing. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I just can't get over the detail. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah, and like you said, we haven't seen the finished product. We haven't seen a painted final sculpt. This is just the brown looking basic monotone sculpt. Yeah, but it just looks so good. And
it does.
Draconians, they were okay. I mean, what's the first? Crikey, the Frontier in Space.
I think so. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. I always picture him next to the Master actually, but yeah.
I think but they were not too bad. Sort of classic monster, if you like.
Yeah, I was going to say Pertwee loved them, didn't he? I think they're one of Pertwee's favourites. He liked the fact you could see the face moving in them, in the mask and stuff. I think he always really liked the Draconians. He will look very nice next to Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
If anyone's picking up that figure. Don't know if you've ordered yours yet, but I bet you they had a surge of orders after this episode last week.
I'm sure.
Of Alpha Centauri. Yeah. So those two figures together look very nice. Hopefully the price, I mean, I'm guessing he's going to be around the 60 to £80 mark. A very rough guess, because Alpha's 60.
Yeah.
Davros is 90, I think, is he?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that. So this will be around there, I should think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks good.
Very good indeed. Robert Harrop.
Yes.
Check it out.
Knocking it out of the park.
That is news and merch. I think it's time that we progress with our review. Adam, what are we doing this week?
This week, I can't do it. It's Empress of Mars.
There were humans on Mars in Victorian times.
No, there weren't. Friday asked for my help.
In return for what?
Halt!
This could be the entrance to an ex-warrior hive. Friday has been using you all along. His aim was to get back to Mars and find his queen.
Rise, my ice warriors! Rise!
I dare say the British Army is more than a match for a bunch of upright crocodiles.
You don't stand a chance against the ice warriors. You don't stand a chance.
I've got to say, though, before we kick off, why are they using the Cybermen music in that Next Time trailer? Because I think a lot of people thought, are they going to pop up at the end? Is it, are they hinting at something? And no, it's just them being lazy and using a bit of stock music. It does. I mean, it works for the trailer, but yeah, it's a bit lazy.
A little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, the episode.
Yes. Directed by Wayne Yip. Written by Mark Gatiss. Gatiss. Let's say Gatiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overseen by the Mothball. And yes, went out on Saturday, 10th of June. Normal run time. Was it 45 minutes long? Whatever. And yes, it sees the Doctor and Bill turn up at the NASA head office, where they discover that there's been a strange signal left on the surface of Mars. They then jump in TARDIS, head towards Mars to see what's going on. And they surprisingly find a group of
Victorian.
Is it Victorian
soldiers? Yeah.
Yep. Who are being helped by an ice warrior named Friday. He was promised them riches and gems and all the rest of it, but it's a bit of a plan, not a double cross, but something is afoot because when they blast through into a cavern, they find the tomb of the Ice Empress, whatever her name is, Ice Empress.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling her.
Yeah, and she's very grumpy. Understandably, she's just woken up, bit cranky. Decides to lay waste. The Doctor, mainly Bill, I would say, plays mediator, tries to save them, and a bit of an allegiance formed. And we also get a surprise visit from Missy.
Oh, yes.
At the end, who's been quite naughty.
This is naughty.
Very naughty. So, yeah, a modern Ice Warrior episode. Was it Mark Gatiss that wrote the last one on the submarine?
Yes, it was. Cold War.
Cold War, yeah. He did write that one. He got a thing for Cybermen, hasn't he?
Ice Warriors.
Ice Warriors, yeah.
Yeah. I think he obviously does like an Ice Warrior. It's funny because I wanted to go back and watch Cold War before this aired, just to remind myself, because we haven't reviewed it, so I won't say too much, but I don't really have much memory of it. It didn't stick in my mind as being good, bad, or anything. I just don't really remember it. Apart from the fact that the Ice Warrior came out the suit in it. Yes. That's sort of the only thing I can really remember from that episode. So I wanted to go back and watch it before this one, but sadly didn't get time. But I probably will go back and watch Cold War at some point in the next week or two. But yeah, Empress of Mars. What do you reckon then?
Right. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
You liked it?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a decent enough sort of single story. I like the fact that we've got to dive in a little bit further to the Ice Warrior history a little bit and some other characters. They're not just just the worker ants that we've seen. Because I know in Cold War with the Ice Warrior there, I think he was quite a high up general or something like that.
I seem to remember that, yeah.
Yeah, but in previous stories of that, all we've seen really is just a bunch of them walking around killing people. So this was good to have a bit of a different take on some sort of hierarchy, if you like, within the Ice Warriors. And so I like the fact that Friday is a bit of a softie.
Yeah.
He's him and Bill, sort of really get on. And they form a little bit of an alliance there, which is good. I've still got mixed feelings on the Ice Empress. I'm still trying to decide whether I really, really like her character and stuff, or if it was just a bit of a letdown. I'm not sure. I think I like her. I think I like the character. Yeah, and I'm not too sure on the British soldiers. They were okay. Some of them, some not the greatest acting we've seen in Who, but they were okay. And yeah, and we only saw a tiny little bit of Missy in there. I wasn't too keen on the fact that they just banished Nardole for most of the episode.
Yeah, that was strange, wasn't it? TARDIS just taking off. I hope we get an explanation for that, because if it's not explained, I think that's going to be. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Yeah. But how sometimes it was very convenient the way he was just taken off to get him out of the story. So I do hope we get an explanation for that. Yeah.
But overall, I quite liked it. Yeah, thought it was a decent episode. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very decent episode. I enjoyed it. It felt very classic to me. It did feel a little slow in places, if I'm honest. There were on a first watch, particularly, I was thinking, oh, it's dragging a bit. But on the second watch, I sort of could settle down a bit more and just watch it. And I did really enjoy it, actually. As I said, it felt very classic in its style and also its pacing. It didn't sort of rush. It took its time to build up. It was quite wordy at the start, sort of getting the explanation across, because I was thinking, well, what are these Victorian guys doing on the moon? How the hell's had that happened? And so yeah, it took its time. And I didn't think it was by any means a perfect episode, but I did enjoy it. I did think it was good. I thought the Ice Warriors were used to good effect. The Ice Empress, the Empress. Yeah, I'm a bit like you. I'm not sure about her, because I quite liked her, but she did remind me of the way she spoke of the Rachnos thing. Remember the Rachnos monster?
Right. Yes.
Like every time she spoke, I was thinking, I just couldn't get that in my head. But I think, yeah, like you, I think I liked her. I did like the fact that she kind of she liked Bill because she was the only other female in the room. So she sort of, that sort of brought Bill into the episode more. And I like the fact that she only really considered Bill's opinion valid because she was a female. So I thought that was quite a nice touch to bring those two together and, have a bit of mutual respect between them. So that was quite cool. But yeah, and I thought the Ice Warriors were good. I liked it when they were all kicking off at the end when we got to see a few more, because that's one thing about Cold War is we only got that one Ice Warrior. And that kind of just reminded me of the Dalek story where we just got one Dalek, but we then got sort of a finale with loads of Daleks, and that worked brilliantly. So when we only got one Ice Warrior in Cold War, I've kind of been waiting for this because I was thinking, we need a story now with at least, more than one. We need let's see the Ice Warriors properly. And we did get a bit of that in this, which I think works quite well. The bit at the end, I loved it when we saw all the ice tombs. And we saw a few break out, not many, but it was enough to sort of bring the episode to a good conclusion, I thought. So, overall, mate, I thought it was decent. I enjoyed it. Not perfect. As we get into it, I'll talk a bit more about things I did and didn't like. But overall, as a story and episode, I thought it was decent. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some story stuff then.
Yeah.
So I quite like the fact that they just in the background at the NASA office to begin with.
Yeah.
And they don't even know that they're there. So they're doing the whole countdown thing and the Doctor joins in. And then before you know it, Bill's there as well, and Nardole.
Nardole.
He's there and they're all really surprised. It was very unrealistic, but this is Doctor Who, so let's just run with it.
Am I the only one getting a little bit bored of the psychic paper though? Because that joke's kind of run a bit thin for me. That they're using it all the time now just to quickly explain away. I don't know. I'm just getting a little bit bored of that psychic paper. I'm kind of hoping that gets lost when Chibbers takes over, because it's been used an awful lot since Doctor Who came back.
I'm not tired of it.
No?
I think it's quite a cool thing. It depends on how well it's written in. Sometimes it just falls a bit flat, doesn't it? And
it
can be a bit meh. But it's not. I'm not really tired of it. Has it run its course for you, mate?
Oh, well, just a little bit. I just like every time they sort of have to explain away something, they just get the psychic paper out and then come out with a joke. Oh, yes, is that who we are? Okay, then. And I just thought, it's been done a few times now. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I'm just a bit. I wouldn't be sad if we didn't see it for a while.
I read you. Yeah. But I quite like the setup to the story. Who doesn't like, a bit of NASA?
Yes.
A bit of inside the
NASA.
Inside NASA, it's very cool. Like I said, a bit unrealistic. If there was a guy that just appeared in the control room, I assume that security would be in there within a matter of seconds. But they don't seem too bothered. They're just, who are you? Oh, I'm this person. Oh, right. So this is happening. But I thought it was a very cool setup. I like the and I like the this new satellite or something, a new something on the surface of Mars has enabled them to take photos of something. Is it underneath the surface or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And then they see the God Save the Queen that the Doctor left himself. So it's quite cool when you have that timey-wimey intro where you're seeing something that the Doctor's about to do now, if you like.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't get that the first time around. I think my head didn't click with what was going on. So I only really got that on the second watch. I was like, I see the Doctor left it there and they're seeing it, right? Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's quite a nice little touch, I thought. Just while I remember, because I'll probably forget this when we get into review, talking of God Save the Queen, I'm glad that when we got to see the painting of the Queen this week, that it was the Queen from the Doctor Who episode, Tooth and Claw. It was Pauline Collins. Because, the other week we were saying about Churchill, they had a picture of the real Churchill and not Ian McNeice. Yes. So I was quite glad that they it seemed almost strange, actually, that this week they actually put in the actress rather than the real Queen Victoria. So, I was glad that we had a bit more continuity this week in regards to that.
And I wonder if they went to I wonder if that was an original prop, because it's a painting of her, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was an original prop from Tooth and Claw that they salvaged from somewhere, or if they actually went to the effort of having a picture done in a painted style of her. It seems bizarre to go to that effort
just for that few seconds.
Yeah, but they couldn't do it just to include a quick still of the actor who played Churchill in a previous.
Yeah,
maybe it's something to do with the rights to the actor's image or something like that. I don't know. But,
it could be. I hadn't thought of that. So I was thinking, I was going to say, it'd be much easier for them to have used a video clip for Churchill than to actually, like you said, go to the effort of making a painting. It could be a rights issue. I don't know. Yeah,
but it was good to see. I remember when I saw that painting of her, I immediately thought of you and your unhappiness at not including the actor who played Churchill in the last review that we did. Yeah, but that was quite cool. Yeah. So I really like the kickoff being in NASA. I thought there was going to be more of it, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I thought that we're in NASA. This is great, and I thought there was going to be more stuff happening there, which there wasn't. So that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's that there should have been more screen time. It was just a nice way to sort of kick off the episode. So
yeah, it was a good start to it. Yeah,
and. What did you think then? So once the Doctor and they jumped in the TARDIS, they're on Mars now. What did you think to the way that we were introduced to the characters then? Because we have a bit of separation, don't we? So Bill falls down the fun whirly slide. So she bumps into the British soldiers, doesn't she? First,
yeah.
And the Doctor's left up there. So Nardol's gone off at this point. He's been sort of kidnapped by the TARDIS, which we'll come on to in a bit. But it's the Doctor that sees the Ice Warrior first.
And that was a great scene, didn't you think? And did you not think he was channeling Tom Baker in that?
Do you know what?
He's like, this could go very bad or very good. I was thinking he's doing Baker again, like he did in Mama and All Express. Halt!
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. That intro where we first see the Ice Warrior was good.
Great. Really good.
Because you thought, it's classic Ice Warrior. It's going to go bad. Sort of, the Doctor's in for it. He's either going to start running, he's going to run away, or he's going to get captured, whatever. But just the way that Capaldi handles that, I thought was such a great scene.
It was.
He's definitely in that sort of usual, he's got his sensible head on. He isn't panicking and running away. He's got his sensible head on. How is he handling it? So I thought the introduction was really cool. And I didn't leave it until quite late as well. Sometimes with Who, if they're gonna bring, especially if they bring a monster back. I remember, what was it? The Age of Silver, Age of Steel. What was that?
Age of Steel.
Yeah, they left it quite a long time before we actually saw any Cybermen. It was a big build-up, if you like, and we've seen it a couple of times where they wait until quite far into the episode before the reveal.
Yeah.
So I like that they didn't leave it too long. We're only in the episode for what? Not even 10 minutes. It's only a few minutes and then we're into it straight away. We've seen an Ice Warrior. We've seen the soldiers. They did leave it a little bit before we saw the Empress, but that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, I thought that was okay because, like you said, I think if they'd have brought it all in at the start, it would have been a bit over the top. I mean, the thing that was bugging me for a little while was why we had Victorian soldiers on the moon. That was the only thing, because I didn't get that on a first watch. I was like, what were they doing there? How did they get there? Because obviously we're now saying that they're the first people on the moon. But yeah, I mean, I got that on the second watch. I think I may have been, perhaps I'd had a couple of glasses of wine on the first watch because it just went totally over my head the first time. So that really bugged me on the first watch. I was like, what are they doing on the moon? But it was something to do with they found the Friday's crashed spaceship, wasn't it? And then he'd taken them there to get the jewels. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we get to meet the Empress. So that's all okay. That's, as a narrative, that's I can go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing that was quite cool as well. We didn't have to see, we didn't have to see everything spelled out to us. It was just a case of, he'd crash landed. I think it was in Africa.
That's right.
The soldiers were in Africa, and he crash landed, and then, he promised them treasures and jewels and stuff, but really he was getting them there to mine and dig to find the Empress hive, wasn't it? The Ice Warrior hive with the Empress and stuff. So yeah, we didn't have to see scenes of all that stuff going on. It was just, like you said, the narrative was just there, and you kind of go with it, don't you?
Yeah, it was all there. Yeah. Did you like it did you think the build up to the Empress waking up was good though? Because I quite liked that when Matey was nicking the jewels, and you just knew I was like, well, he's going to get it in a minute. And I thought it was quite well directed, actually, the way you just saw the claw come down and get him and stuff. I thought that was a good way to bring her into it, rather than some big sort of resurrection scene. Oh, I'm back, or whatever,
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good. I mean, I don't know why she decided to wake up at that moment, but I thought it worked quite well with him stealing the jewels and stuff. Yeah, well, that was quite cool.
Yeah. So one of the jewels on the side, I think he popped off, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that must be some kind of
obviously, yeah, just that
mechanism. Yeah. Yeah. So I like the story. I like the fact that we're only sort of 10 to 15 minutes in, and we already know why the characters are there and what they're doing. And the Doctor's. It's quite nice. I mean, when you see the Doctor or a main character in a TV show trying to piece together or figure out what's going on, because the Doctor's quite quick to realise that this is not a case of, here's I've brought you here to get rich. He quite quickly figures out that that's not the case, and they're being used. It's quite nice when you go through that as the viewer, along with the character figuring it out. So it isn't. And I think that's sometimes where the Moff goes a bit awry with some of his stories, because he sort of embeds it all in this very deep, timey-wimey story, and you're left at the end of an episode with more questions than answers a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas somebody like Mark Gatiss or anyone else that's written for Who, everything's sort of presented up front, and there isn't a lot of convoluted stuff you have to wade through. It's all presented there nicely, and you can just enjoy the episode.
Yeah, it did feel like a Mark Gatiss script to me.
It did, yeah.
Whereas, I mean, Sleep No More doesn't feel like a Mark Gatiss script to me. And although I didn't like the episode, I guess I like the fact that he tried to do something different. I'll give him that. But, this felt like a Gatiss episode with the soldiers as well, and the fact they're all terribly British and all this. And I could see, he likes writing these sort of characters, and he likes putting in all the sort of little nods to classic Who, which we got in this episode and stuff. And like you said, it's just a nice, straightforward narrative, so you could happily sit and watch it. As I said, I did think it was a little slow in places. I don't know if you found it, but
a wee bit.
Because somebody said to me, it would have been a good two-parter, and I don't think it would have actually, because I don't think there was enough story in there for a two-parter. I think there was enough to keep this going. But I mean, my partner, he watched it. He thought it was okay, but because my other half's a bit more of a casual viewer, so I often use him as a way to judge if it would appeal to the general public if they just happen to be sat down. Would it keep their interest? And I would say, for the majority of the episode, it did, but not. Right. Yeah, there were bits where he was popping out and making the tea, and so it didn't grip him all the way through. So that's what I mean. I think it was good, but there were bits where it could have perhaps been tightened up a little bit, or maybe had something a bit more going on. But yeah.
No, I read you. I think the bit that you're referring to, I felt the same way. I think it was once the Doctor and Bill had been put into the holding cell.
Yeah.
And then we had the two soldiers on guard, and there wasn't much really.
They've gone on about him being a deserter and all that. Was that it? Or was that different? I don't know. But the bit in the cell does stick in my mind as being a bit where I perhaps might have reached for the phone and just a little bit filler. But then it was good when the Friday bursts up out the floor and stuff, and it all starts to kick off. I thought, okay, this is really good stuff.
Yeah.
So I liked all that, but yeah.
So I quite like the one thing that's good actually that I like about Doctor Who is if you were to look at just a 10-second clip or even a screenshot of something, I like the fact that there's either characters or situations that you think, well, what's that all about then? So if you were to say to somebody who doesn't watch Doctor Who, and if they said to you, what was Doctor Who about last Saturday? And you said, well, some Victorian soldiers are on Mars, digging for gems. But it actually turns out that these Martians are actually there to try and uncover their ice empress. They would think, what the bloody hell's all that about?
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I remember seeing, they always release a bunch of publicity photos before an episode goes out, and you saw all these British soldiers, and you thought, hang on, how is this going to work? How is it?
Yeah, why are they there?
Yeah, what's going on? And I really like that. So I know it slowed down a bit where we had the conversations between some of the soldiers, like the two of them that were on guard duty, and the other one turns up and drugs the other one, knocks him out, and because he's after stealing the gems and stuff. It sounds kind of exciting, but it was a bit slow. It just was a bit, slowly.
What did you think about the whole deserter thing? Because I'm still not sure about that. I kind of, in terms of when he was going on at the end about wanting to be shot and, it's what I deserve. I don't know. I don't think it had the impact on me that it was supposed to, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but then on the other hand, I wasn't sat there feeling much towards the character. In fact, in terms of the fact he was a deserter and all that little mini subplot that sort of built up towards the end, did you get much from that? Or I don't know. I just felt like I should have been feeling more towards what was going on than I actually did. If you know what I mean.
I didn't for the most part, but I did. I did when he kills Catchlove.
Yeah, when he shoots him.
Yeah, and then you have that conversation between him and the Empress where he's like, you can kill me now, sort of thing. You can, I've already been executed once, and it didn't happen, and I'd rather sort of die with a little bit of honor. I think that's what you were trying to say. And then we have that scene where I think, Bill's quite emotional about it. And she's like, you can't kill him. And the doctor's like, no, just let him work it out. Because he knows what's going to happen, doesn't he? The doctor, she's like, you know what's going to happen. And then she's said, you will die, but not now, as a soldier sort of thing in battle. And she puts her hand on his shoulder, and there's that connection there. And I thought that was a really nice bit of writing. I thought that was great. And some people have said that it's, in a way, it's diluted the menace and the threat, if you like, from the Ice Warriors, because it's showing like a weaker side almost. But I don't necessarily agree with that. But
no, I don't agree with that, because that's the thing with the Ice Warriors is they do have a lot of honor, and that's what she was saying to him, wasn't it? Is you will die in honor, not just be shot, sort of thing. So I thought that was quite in keeping with the character of the Ice Warriors, really.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't see it as her being weak, because if she would have just shot him if she'd wanted to. I think she was just, there is this thing with Ice Warriors that they will die in battle and on, this sort of moral ground that they have, isn't there? So.
Yeah, because I think some people had that complaint with, what was the, there was quite one of the episodes that we reviewed, it had a classic monster in it, and we were just saying, it might even have been the Daleks, I can't remember. But there was one particular episode where we said that the way that's been written, it just completely takes away any threat that these monsters have now. It just does. They just don't seem any, as menacing or as threatening at all as when they were in the classic years. And some people, and I've seen a couple of tweets where people have alluded to that, where they've said, it's not, it's making the Ice Warriors seem a bit weak and that stuff. But I think you can only do so much portraying these monsters in Doctor Who as just these scary, literally as that, just these scary monsters that just kill people. Because, you can only do that for so long before it becomes a bit repetitive.
Yeah, and there's more to the Ice Warriors than that, isn't there? There always has been. They're not just bad guys. They're not good. They're not bad. They're a lot more rounded in their characters, the Ice Warriors. So no, I thought that was quite in keeping with what we've seen in the past. I'm just wondering what you thought of the effect, though, when they did kill people. This strange. So when they shot someone, they sort of turned into this ball of clothing on the foot. Now, again, I can't quite decide if I like that or not, because it's not something we saw them do in the classic series. So it's a new thing, but I don't know if that worked or not. I really, really can't decide. I sort of like it, but don't at the same time. I really am perplexed by it. I don't know. What did you think of it? It's a strange way to kill someone, isn't it? I mean, it's quite horrific in a way. They kind of get compressed into a ball. I don't know. I just can't quite. I don't know where I am on that one.
Do you know what? I like that.
You do?
I think it's got a very. I think it's got a very fun aspect to it, and I think it's one of those things where Who's not taking itself too seriously. Because it would have been all too easy to do what so many other episodes and monsters have done, where a death ray disintegrates somebody. And we've seen that 1,000 times, haven't we?
Yeah, true. I suppose it's different, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's just
even on the second watch, I was a bit like, I just don't know. But yeah, you're right. It's different. Yeah.
It's just something else to. And I thought it was really funny as well. When I first saw it, I thought, crikey, that's different.
Unintentionally funny, yeah.
Yeah, and then the more times that I saw them do it, I just thought it was hilarious. And there's also that thing where, is that reversible?
Well, yeah. I don't know.
I thought it was a great little thing, though.
Yeah, I am coming around to it. Just even on the second watch, I just couldn't decide. I suppose it's because I was trying to think what they did in the classic series. And if memory serves me right, we just sort of use a negative effect, don't they? When they shoot, it's kind of like the film goes from to negative or whatever. I don't know. But I suppose it's just because it was different. But different's not bad. I will agree with you. It did sort of make me laugh a little bit, and I think that's what I mean. I wasn't sure if I should be laughing. I was thinking, well, this should be horrific, not comedic. But I guess it's good. Yeah, it's good to be different.
It was horrific a little bit. The first couple of times I saw it, I was like, wow. It's like you've been folded up like a sort of little pretzel thing.
Yeah.
And they bounce around. So at the time, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this is different and kind of horrific in a way. But I like it. I think it's good. Because it would have been all too easy just to zap them and then they're a pile of dust,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because we had that the last few weeks. Not that they did it a lot, but when the monks...
I did love that effect. We should have seen more of that. When it
definitely
turn people to sand or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was good.
Okay.
So... editing wise, back to our original point, it did slow down a little bit towards the middle part, but it did pick up though. It did pick up. I like the. Okay, let's talk about the Empress then, because that was mainly what this episode was focused on, wasn't it? Obviously the title of the episode is about her. So, female ice warrior.
Yeah.
Well, female ice empress. Lot of mixed opinions on this because when the Doctor Who magazine came out a couple of weeks back, there was 2 covers, wasn't there? She was on the front cover of one of them, is that right? And then we had a Cyberman on the other.
Mondasian Cyberman on the other, yeah.
And I saw lots of people putting photos of the Ice Empress on there saying, "This looks dreadful. This looks awful.
Oh, really? Okay.
This looks really bad." So. Well, first of all, what did you think of having a female? Because we do get onto this gender thing with Who from time to time, normally around when one of the Doctors is leaving, and we have months and months of the Doctor should be a woman. But what did you think to this then, with the predominantly male, male species that we've seen thus far? Now we've thrown in an important figure who turns out to be a woman.
Yeah.
What did you reckon to that?
I thought it worked well, personally. I liked the look of her. I mean, she did remind me a bit of the Predator because of this sort of the hair and that. So there's a bit of Predator in the design. No, I thought she looked good, mate. I didn't have a problem with that at all. I thought she's quite menacing and she's got the teeth going on, She needs to pop to the dentist. So, no, I thought she looked quite cool, mate. The thing I suppose that really threw me was the voice. Just reminded me too much of the Rachnos. I was thinking it's not the same actress, but I thought it might have been when I first watched it. But no, I thought look-wise she was good. Maybe a little bit more hiss in the voice. I thought that about all the Ice Warriors in this, actually. There wasn't enough hiss at all. But no, I thought she looked good. I thought all the Ice Warriors looked good. I like the one with the Friday with his smashed glass, and I thought the design on all of it was good. The only thing I didn't like was the stomping sound effect, because I was thinking, no, that's too
Cybermen-y, yeah.
It really didn't need that, and I really didn't like it. So it's the only thing I didn't like, because I thought all the Ice Warriors look good. I like the way they've been updated. They haven't changed the design too much. They look like they mean business, and I thought she looked good. I didn't have a problem with her design at all, but I did hate the stomping. And when they come out of the tombs, they did this sort of salute as well, which was very very Cyberman, I thought. I just didn't like that. I was thinking, no. But that's Cybermen. These are Ice Warriors. We don't need all that stuff. Because, I mean, you can't creep up behind someone if you're that loud. Yeah, you can't stomp up behind someone and then them turn around and be like, oh, there's an Ice Warrior behind me. Well, of course there is. You'd hear him coming a mile off, So, yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like was the stomping. But I thought they looked great.
Yes, I thought the same thing. This sounds very Cyberman-y.
Yeah, I didn't need that.
But I like her as a character. I thought she was really good.
Yeah, and I like the connection with Bill as well that I said earlier. Didn't you think that was just made for something a bit more interesting?
Very good, yeah. So when she turns around and she wants to get the opinion of the only other female, a little part of me thinks, that's just a big shouty, these are two females in the company of big males. A little bit sort of, we didn't really need to have that spoon-fed. But in a way, I thought it was very cool that she sort of spins around and points at Bill, and Pearl Mackie being just brilliant as always. She sort of jumps at the chance to throw her 2 cents in, which I thought was really cool. But like you, I thought she, from the back especially and the side, she looked very much like the Predator alien.
Yeah, it did remind me of that.
Yeah, the voice, maybe needed a bit more hissing going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought she was a good character, and I thought, there comes a point where you do need to expand on various species and their civilization and hierarchy and all that stuff. We do need to dive into those things a little bit from time to time, because, as I said earlier, otherwise all you've got is just a bunch of monsters running around killing people, and it does get repetitive. So you have to venture in a little bit into their other way of life. It's not just a battle warrior running around killing people.
I thought she had good authority as well. Do you know what I mean? I thought she was quite. I felt like she was in charge. I didn't think she was a pushover. Let's put it that way, because she was quite happy to knock people off left, right, and centre. And I thought it was funny when she was calling, "What does the pink thing say?" or whatever she said. I thought that was quite funny as well.
Yeah, the pink worm thing or something like that.
Yeah. No, I thought she was quite good, mate. I really didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yes, I thought her name was called as well, Iraxa.
Oh, is that what she's called? Iraxa?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool name.
Yeah, so
I didn't even hear that in the episode. But
I thought that was quite cool. And I like the fact that Mark Gatiss did slip in a tiny little thing to say.
Oh, yes, he did, didn't he?
So when she looks up and she's like, "Sleep no more," I thought,
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah, I read you, mate. You didn't get your sequel, but you're going to plug it home that...
I could just imagine him writing that as well. When I heard, because she doesn't say it just once, she says it a few times. And she's like, "Sleep no more, sleep no more." And I thought, oh, that's it worked really well actually. But I just imagine Gatiss smiling to himself when he put that in there. Yeah.
So I thought she was a great character. I really did. I thought she was a good addition to, and I thought she was almost like a cross between an Ice Warrior and the Ice Lord that we saw in Curse of Peladon.
Yeah, I thought that,
Yeah, so I thought it's another good addition to their, because we still we don't really know a lot about them really, do we? This is only a very small hive that they call them, isn't it? That we've uncovered on Mars, and we don't know if there's anyone higher up than her. Is there, an Ice Warrior figure that's more in charge than her, or are there more of her? I don't know, but...
Actually, that's one thing this episode did. I mean, as I said earlier, it didn't have enough for a two-parter, I don't think, but it definitely left me wanting to see the Ice Warriors again. Do you know what I mean? I would love to see some more stories with them in, because I do think they're a great... I was going to say monster, but they... don't know. As I said earlier, there's more to them than that, isn't there? Yeah. But you know what I mean? I'd love to see more stories with the Ice Warriors after this. Yeah. I felt like we were just getting going as well. The way it ended, and it was a really good ending, I thought. But I felt like we were just, I was like, we're leading into other things now, and where do they go from here? And I'd quite happily sort of have more Ice Warrior stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it leaves the door open nicely.
It does,
for a future series to pick up with some of these characters. Iraxa being one of them for sure. Maybe Friday as well. He seems quite good. But I think going back to what you said earlier, I don't think this should have been a two-parter. I agree with you.
Didn't have enough story.
It was just a nice story to sort of leave you, like you said, wanting to see more. So maybe the Chibbers he'll throw these in at some point.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the British soldiers then, because the whole thing with the British soldiers, and I think I saw an interview or a very short snippet or something that Mark Gatiss said the other day, and that is it's kind of a metaphor for Brexit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't pick up on that at first.
No,
it was
nor
quite
did I.
subtle. Yeah. So the fact that you've got one guy who's, I think his name was Godsaker or Godsake. He was the acting lieutenant. He was a guy in charge. You know, the guy, the deserter guy.
Yeah.
So all the decisions that he made up to a certain point were to sort of play it safe and just go along the path. You know, let's be strong as a unit. You know, and let's sort of handle it, which is very much a Theresa May. Let's be strong and stable. Let's not rock the boat sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you had this other guy, Catchlove, who was very much the Jeremy Corbyn. You know, I'm going to turn everything on its head and show you how things should be done. And then you have the other soldiers who are just the voters of the country. Like, you know, they're under the command of that person, if you like. But there's this other guy that's coming in who's potentially going to shake things up. And he eventually, it gets to a point where it doesn't provide a metaphor for Brexit, where he sort of throws him into custody and takes over. That's not really what's going on. But apparently there was a bit of a metaphor in there somewhere for Brexit. So I thought it was quite subtle. I didn't really pick up on that, but.
But yeah, I mean, that went right over my head. If that's the case, I didn't pick up on any of that. I mean, I did wonder what was going on with the deserter thing. Mm-hmm. As I said earlier, I was trying to think, I wasn't quite sure what Mark Gatiss was getting at with that. But maybe that's what he was getting at then. Yeah, maybe. But it does make more sense. But no, I didn't pick up on that at all, mate. That went straight over my head. You said you didn't think they were the best actors when we kicked off the review. I don't think they were that bad. I thought they were okay because, you know, we're doing all the whole, you know, jolly sticks and, you know, it's all very British and all that.
What?
Yeah. What? No, I didn't think they were too bad. I thought the deserter guy was quite good. The one thing I would say is I didn't catch any of their names. Even on the second watch, I was thinking this. I thought, God, when we come to review this, can't remember any of their names, these guys.
Okay. So I didn't think that about all of them. The two main characters, so Godsaker and Catchlove. So the deserter guy, Godsaker, I thought he was very good. And I thought Catchlove, played by Ferdinand Kingsley, I thought he was playing it exactly written. He was meant to be this real sort of jumped up, overconfident, sort of annoying character. And I really liked his performance. It was the other soldiers that I wasn't too keen on. I just found them a little... So Major Peach, he was like the older sort of gentleman that was on guard who got drugged. You then had Vincey, who was the younger black soldier who was on guard. And then you had Jackdaw, which is a guy that turns up and who drugs Major Peach because he's after the treasure. He sort of breaks into, you know, and takes the jewel off the thing.
Yeah.
So those guys, I just thought I wasn't, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's a huge criticism and they were bad. I just didn't get anything from them in their performances and the scenes that they were in.
You didn't sort of feel much towards them, sort of thing.
No, not really. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I thought they were okay. Yeah, as I said, they just were fine. Yeah, like you said, no one stood out in this. As you know, like when they got killed off, I didn't sort of think, oh no, they've killed off Peachy or whatever. You know, exactly. I didn't get any of that. Whereas I just kind of thought they were there and, like you said, sort of did their bit and that was it really. But no, I thought they were all right. Not good, not bad. Really. What did you think? I thought we've said about the look of the episode in the last couple of stories. Like we were quite impressed up until last week, weren't we? About the style of the show and the effects in it were fairly decent. And then last week's episode, Live the Land, the effects are a bit shoddy. But I thought this kept it quite nice and simple. So having it filmed, well, I'm presuming it was a real cave or wherever the location was, looked really good. We got to see a little bit of Mars on the outside when they come out at the end. It did look a little bit budget Mars, but it still looked good, I thought. I mean, I say that because if you compare it to like how the moon looked in Kill the Moon, I mean, that was incredible.
Yeah.
This, was a tiny scene. Obviously, they've kept it minimal for that. But I thought it looked decent enough. And I liked the costumes and that in this, didn't you? I thought the designs were really good. This funny little, looked like one of those little gramophone speakers on the side of their spacesuits. Victorian guys, I mean, not Capaldi. Capaldi's spacesuit was all sort of black, wasn't
modern,
it? So,
yeah.
Modern. But yeah, I like the sort of style of the spacesuits in this with that little funny speaker, trumpet, whatever it was on it. I thought it all looked good. So overall for me, I thought the sort of production values had gone up again a little bit. Still not as good as we've seen before, but they were kept sort of basic. So when we saw like the Ice Warrior tomb, I thought that looked fairly good as a sort of bit of CGI. There wasn't anything in this episode where I thought that doesn't look very good. There was no pyramids flying into space shot this week where I cringed. I thought overall the production was pretty decent.
No, I agree. I thought it was a great looking episode.
Yeah.
And this always happens in every single series of Who. There's always that one episode where you think, okay, they clearly haven't got a huge budget for this particular episode. They figured out that they can do it in just one or two locations and they can do it fairly cheaply. And I think this must be this series 10 version of that.
Yeah, because the lighting and all that was good, wasn't it?
It was really good.
And that I think they've made the most of what they had to hand. And I thought it looked pretty good. Yeah. What about Murray's music?
Murray's music,
a little bit by numbers this week.
I was going to say nothing that stood out really.
No,
nothing jumped out, and I thought, that's an amazing theme. I can't wait for Series 10 to be released in 2032, whatever it is. But no, just a little bit standard, a little bit meta, I would say.
Maybe that's why they had to put the Cybermen music in the trailer, because there wasn't anything, because there wasn't, like you said, there's nothing that really stood out to me this week where I was thinking, I love this piece of music, or like you said, I can't wait for the soundtrack because this is cool. It was just kind of there this week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just tinkering around, adding a bit of ambience. Yeah, it was all right.
What did you think to Bill and Nardole this week? Let's get Nardole out the way.
Just like Mark Gatiss, let's get him out the way.
Literally, yeah. I thought he's one thing that I will say about both Pearl and Matt Lucas is that they've been very consistent throughout the series. So even though Nardole hasn't had a lot of screen time, his performance is still exactly what you would expect from his character. That's one thing I will say. Even though Mark Gatiss sort of shelved him for 90% of the episode, when he was in it, he was really quite good. Especially when he walks up to the doctor, he's like, "Now, before you get all frowny,"
I loved that. Yeah.
So those little bits of banter with the doctor and stuff, we've seen that right from the pilot. Those little interactions, those little funny things, and he plays scared really well, as when he's in the TARDIS and it's fine itself and he looks petrified. And so I like Matt Lucas. I think if anything, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but at least you know exactly what you're getting. There's no inconsistency with him.
No, I agree, mate. I loved all that. Don't be frowny and all that sort of stuff. And I do question whether he would have let Missy out the vault though, because I thought he was terrified of her. And he's been banging on about the Doctor about guarding it this whole series, and he's very easily convinced to let her out of the vault to fly the TARDIS. But it's a minor thing really, because like you said, I do enjoy the little scenes he's in. I want an explanation though. I'm assuming I think Miss is all part of Miss's plan. I'm assuming she somehow manipulated the TARDIS. I don't know why that happened, but it was. I mean, it was a good, in a way. It was, clearly Gatiss decided he needed to get Lucas out of it. Maybe he felt like he didn't have enough, material to write him, or maybe the mothball said, look, we've got to get Missy out of the vault, so you need to put this in the story. I don't know. There must be a reason there for the TARDIS doing what it did. And I've got to say, I absolutely love that shot of Missy when she just peeks from behind the TARDIS. She's much more sinister when she's playing it subtle like she is at the minute. I'm loving Missy this series. The same with Matt Lucas. I sort of every week I want more of them, and I think it's good actually because I think they've given us just enough to keep us wanting more. So it's a bit of a sort of double-edged sword, because if we did get more, probably wouldn't be feeling that. So I love the fact that we've just got these little bits with them in, and we don't quite know what they're up to. But didn't she look really sinister when she just poked her head around the TARDIS, and she looked a little bit like, I know I shouldn't be here, but thank me all the same. And I didn't pick up on this the first watch, but I did the second watch, because I didn't understand why she was asking the Doctor if he was all right. I was just like, it just went over my head on the first watch. But so I'm guessing then she's picked up that something's not right with him, because she's looking him up and down going, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. Yep.
So there's something going on with the regeneration, isn't there? There's something. Capaldi's not well, is he?
There has to
be. She's picked up on something. Now you see, I didn't get that on the first watch, and when I watched it a second time, I kind of was a little bit like, oh. I was a little bit like, ooh, so what's going on there then? So she's picked up on something, hasn't she? Which again, I'm loving this Capaldi Missy, sort of standoff. I'm just really, really looking forward to seeing where we're going with that.
Yeah, it's great because when she looked him up and down, and she does it for just a second too long, because you can tell that she immediately notices that human eyes, we can't see it. But as a fellow Time Lord, she can obviously pick it up immediately that something is not right with him.
Yeah.
And she does it. She looks him up and down, and there's quite a lot of concern in her voice. She knows that, so this must be linked to this regeneration thing that we suspect has been going on anyway. But we've only got 3 episodes left.
I know.
So they kind of, I'm not saying that they need to rush that storyline or that story arc really, but they do need to flesh it out a little bit. We don't just want to have it all rushed in the finale, and so, I mean, that sounds dreadful. We've only got 3 episodes.
I know. I just put my head in my hands when you said that. I'm like, no, 3 more. Well,
4 with
4
Capaldi.
more Capaldi, including the Christmas. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, when the first time I watched it, I thought in my head, I think I must have been half asleep when I first watched it. I just thought she was asking him, "Oh, are you all right?" Like you would, because he's obviously just had an adventure, and she's like saying, "Oh, are you okay?" And it was only when I watched it the second time, and I'm like, "Oh, she's looking him up and down, and she can see something." That I picked up on the fact that she realizes that he's not a well man. So yeah, I like that. Again, very subtle, nice little bit added in to this regeneration. We don't know what Mothball's got up his sleeve, but he's already said it's going to be something different, isn't he? So,
Well, I still don't think we're going to see it in this series because Capaldi's back for Christmas.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
So I think we're going to allude to it, and I think we're going to be left on a massive cliffhanger, which is going to kill us until December.
That's exactly what I think. Yeah,
but I don't think we're going to see because I think they've already got that little tease out the way. They did that last episode where they did the
fake regeneration. Yeah.
So I think they've got that done. Now I think it's a case of, right, how long has he got left? That's more of the thing I think they're going to go down the lines of. So he's obviously unwell. Whoever Time Lords are unwell.
Yeah.
There has been some theories knocking around that he's in a regeneration process at the moment. So since it all happened with his sight coming back, or him losing his sight, should I say, some people have said that his regeneration has started, but it's just a drawn out, longer version. I'm not sure,
but she didn't notice anything last week when they were sat together by that fire, and she was sort of crying, and he's trying to teach her how to be good. So she hasn't noticed anything up to this point. Then we can assume, because she looked a bit shocked, didn't she? So yeah, I love the fact, like you said, I know we've only got 3 episodes left, but I love the fact that we've got these things, these strands, like, what's going on with the Doctor? Is Missy going to repent? We know that John Sims about to pop up. In fact, the Radio Times actually announced which episode he's returning in. I'm not going to say it because I felt that was a bit spoilery, but I know when Sims coming back, and so it's all starting to fall into place. I just hope, like you, that it's not all just shoved into the final episode, and I hope it's nicely played out because it has been so far.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So I agree. Missy, very sinister.
I like
when
it
she sort of leans
just
around the centre console.
And
she's quite quiet and reserved. So what did you? So Nardo and Missy, what did you think to Bill in this then?
I thought she was good. I think I'm in a minority in what I'm about to say. I was slightly finding her a bit cocky this week, only slightly. And I don't know, listening to other people's views and listening to other podcasts, people were saying she was great again this week, which she was. I loved all the stuff with her interaction with the Empress and all that. I still think she was really good this week. But for me, the way she was written, like Bill's starting to lose a bit of that innocence, a bit like Rose did.
Yes.
You know how like Rose became very comfortable with being on all the adventures, and she starts sort of answering back a lot, and there's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself. I mean, the scene where Bill says, I'm going to excuse you for your Victorian ways because you're Victorian. That made for a nice fun scene. But she was written a little bit more confident, I would say slightly more cocky this week, which I wasn't. I prefer the sort of Bill that's a bit more human and a bit more. Just a bit softer. I saw a bit more of an edge to this week, and I think a lot of people would probably like that. So, as I said, I'm probably in the minority. But do you know what I mean about that? Like even in the very first scene, she makes a quip to the guy at NASA, and I forget what it is now. And I thought, Bill's found her confidence. Then she's not afraid to sort of answer back now. Whereas at one point she would have been a bit more, not so quick to mouth off. I don't know. It's very subtle, and as I said, I still think she was great. But I just sort of found maybe it's progression, mate. Maybe she's just progressing the character a bit. But I didn't like her as much as I have in other episodes, I suppose is what I'm trying to get to.
I read you. Yeah, so I think that is just her character progression, because we are sort of 9 episodes in now.
Yeah.
So you would expect her to be a little more, not sort of overly cocky and confident like Rose was a little bit, or Clara, but she must be starting to get a bit more comfortable, because with a lot of companions, they do rely on the Doctor having a plan. So there is that. They do feel like there's a bit of a safety net with everything, so they can relax a little, not relax, but they can be a bit more comfortable in that. Because she does say it in this episode, doesn't she? When the Doctors, when they get thrown into the cell, she's like, "So you've got a plan, right?" And the Doctor says, "Of course I've got a plan," and he sort of does. But I think it must just be character progression. She must just be more comfortable around.
Yeah, I think I like the more sort of slightly innocent Bill, she's sort of normally horrified by sort of gore and the fact that they're looking at dead people. Whereas this week she was talking about a film and she was like, "Oh, there's this great scene where a guy gets his eye gouged out and all that." I was thinking, what's happened to Bill? She's suddenly like this. But, I don't know. There were just little moments that I just thought they weren't. Yeah, I just thought, well, I hope she's not going down that. She's going to be sort of jumping out, offloading around. Oh, yeah, a bit like last week when I said about shooting the Doctor. I was just like, no, this isn't. I like the Bill that we saw earlier in the series, not this sort of gun-toting. Yeah, slightly. Yeah, I just don't want to see her going cocky like Series 2 Rose, I guess. But she's nowhere near that yet. By the way, I'm just saying. I just sort of saw little elements of it this week, which I didn't really like. Yeah.
Okay, I'll read you. And the Doctor then.
Old Capaldi. I loved him this week, mate. Especially with all the, as I said, channeling. Like the Fourth Doctor and stuff, and he's so in charge at the minute, Capaldi. That's what I love. Like when he's shouting "Halt!" and and when he was talking to the Empress, just sort of saying, don't kill these guys, because he just totally in charge of the situation. I loved it, and a nice bit of interaction with him and Bill when he said, "I need a distraction," and she's like, "Cool, I'll do it." And I love all that. I just thought once again working brilliantly as a Doctor companion team to get the situation solved. So yeah, very, very nice performance from Capaldi this week.
Very good.
For me. Again, and consistent. We said earlier we just wanted him to be consistent, and he really, really is.
Yes,
being consistent in his performance. Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. He was very much in charge this episode. He was. There was a nice little moment as well when he's threatening to when he's pointing the gargantua thing at the ceiling and he's threatening to bury everybody under the ice cap and so on.
Yeah.
Which doesn't come off, but he does sort of mention afterwards. There's a little moment where he's like, I probably shouldn't. Well, what is it he says? I can never remember these things off the top of my head, but he says something to Bill or to himself even, like, I should stop thinking like a...
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's my problem. I always think like a warrior or something.
It, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little moment where he's kind of got his plan, but it would have killed everybody and, there's clearly a better way.
Yeah.
So those nice little sort of self-reflection moments. Quite nice with Capaldi. But no, just brilliant overall. Just, yeah.
His delivery is just great as well, isn't it? Like, he's really, like I said, when he's delivering his lines, he's totally hitting the nail on the head, if you like. And it's just his whole look as well. This more rugged, hair, messed up look that he's gone for in this series is just working so well. He looks haggard. He looks like he's been around the universe. Just really, really loving him as the Doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
no complaints for Capaldi. Anything you want to mention, mate, before we get on to our scores?
Well, there is something we have to mention.
Go on, then.
It's that funny voiced.
Oh, of course.
Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri. How did we forget that?
I've drawn an eyeball on my pad to remind me. Yeah, so I'm assuming you didn't know about it before it aired and it was a surprise? Or did you get it ruined like me on Twitter?
I heard I saw a very quick pass into it on Twitter.
Oh no!
Yeah.
See, I was gutted because I think if I hadn't known about it when she popped up, when it popped up at the end, I think I would have been going crazy like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Blimmin' Twitter, mate! I saw someone put it on there, and they did a photo shoot, didn't they, or something, with all these clues around the Doctor and Bill, and somebody had worked it out, and they put, it's Alpha Centauri, and it was just a passing comment.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Didn't really think anything of it, and then we're getting towards the end of the episode, and I thought, oh no, I know what's coming. I've had it. I've ruined it.
Yeah.
So I was gutted, mate, because I would have loved that to have been a complete surprise.
It would have
because
been
we've already
amazing.
had enough spoilers for this series. There's so much been spoiled from this series. But it was amazing, wasn't it, to have that?
Oh,
that
it's
little
brilliant
appearance at the end.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it sets up the story that would lead on to the Curse of Peladon.
Yeah, and it's the sorry.
Yeah, because that's the. Did you say it was the original?
It's the original actress as well, because I assumed it wouldn't be. Because no offense to her, but I thought, she must be getting on a bit. But it actually is. I don't know how you say her name. Is it Yazan? Yazan Churchman.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Who's 92. To actually get her back to voice it, I just think is top notch.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Absolutely wonderful little touch. Just thought it made for a really nice end to the episode.
Yeah, and I like the fact because at the end the Doctor saying that you can sort of rebuild and carry on, but you're going to need to sort of muck in with other people.
Yeah.
And he sort of sends a distress call out, and it's Alpha Centauri that you hear on the thing, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And you see it on the
yeah. It's
a
lovely touch.
Yeah. So if any of our listeners who have not into Classic Who and have not seen The Curse of Peladon, it's definitely worth watching, because you can see that, because the Alpha Centauri, she's like the spokesperson in the Galactic Federation, isn't she? It isn't it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And at that point, once we get to the Curse of Peladon, you can tell that the Ice Warriors have joined that as well, because an Ice Lord goes to Peladon as well, and there's another alien species, which is hilarious. And, so if you haven't seen the Curse of Peladon and you've just watched Empress of Mars, go and watch it, because it's a really good link into it. It's great. Yeah.
Actually, that's what I loved, as I saw straight afterwards, I saw loads of people, well, not loads, but I saw a few people on Twitter saying, I'm going to go out and buy the Peladon box set on Monday now, because I've never watched them. And
wow.
I was thinking, that's cool. So it's got people into the classic series, although they're not by any means my favourite episodes of the classic era, but I know a lot of people loved them. You really liked the Curse, didn't you? But
yeah, I'm not a fan of Monster, but the Curse of Peladon I thought was a great story. Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a lovely touch, I thought. Really, really nice. Yeah.
Right, mate. Scores. It's you to go first. Hit me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know, I might be going a little high, but I did really enjoy this one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. Yeah, I wondered if I struggled. I think on a first watch I would have gone 7, but I enjoyed it a lot on a second watch. So 8 out of 10 for me, mate.
Cool.
What about you?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Are you really? I thought you might go lower.
Another snap.
Yeah, another snap. Yeah.
So I just thought it was a great standalone story.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think it's because it's refreshing to come out of that Monks trilogy, just to have another fun sort of, and it did feel very classic Who. It did feel classic Who to me. Yeah. So it had a great feeling to it. The Ice Warriors, I thought they were done really well. Really nice inclusion of another character within the Ice Warrior lore, if you like. And I just thought that it was just a great, fun story to watch. It was. I'm still undecided about the Empress. I thought that as we've talked about it in the review, I've sort of talked myself round to thinking she's a great character, but I think I just need to give it another watch.
Yeah,
just to confirm that. But yeah, overall, I thought it was just a really good singular story.
It went up to an 8 in the last sort of 15, 20 minutes for me. I think up until that point, I was probably on a sort of 7. I was sort of all the way through this thinking, yeah, it's good, but it's a bit slow, I'm not sure. And then it just really rounded off nicely. And by the end of it, I was just thinking, I actually really enjoyed that, which is why I went up to an 8. I just thought it was probably an extra half a point for Alpha Centauri. Yeah, because I was sort of between 7 and 8. So yeah, it was good.
Cool. What did our lovely listeners think? Over on Twitter, Davros1736 says, the best Doctor Who comeback ever.
Ooh.
I genuinely whooped in delight when I saw Alpha Centauri. He says, a good, strong, fun romp. I say 8 out of 10.
Oh, another 8 out of 10. Good.
Another 8, yeah. Let's do a couple of audio reviews. We've got 4 in. We're going to do 2 back-to-back now. This is Sammy Satine from Down Under and Joe Sweeney.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, the Empress of Mars. I love Mark Gatiss and I enjoy most of his episodes, Night Terrors and Sleep No More being the exceptions. I also love the Ice Warriors. And the Empress is just excellent. Alpha Centauri appeared! Scree! This was fun and I really needed a fun story. Can I just say, Chris Chibnall, please bring Mark back to write more stories in the future. Please. He's so fun. Anyway. So, 9 out of 10 for big fun. See ya!
The Empress of Mars is one of the bestest Gatiss story up to date, but not the greatest overall in Series 10, but it's a very good, solid piece of story. And I'm very surprised it's written by Mark Gatiss because of the previous episodes he's written for Who in the past, because some were half decent and like Sleep No More was just utter dreadful and it was unforgivable. But Mark Gatiss, you proved me and us Minns Whovians wrong, and I'll say to you, well done. And the Ice Warriors were absolutely fantastic to see, and also there's nothing being changed about them, that they stay true and faithful from the classics, and that's what makes them so good, and their armor looks superb. There's Peter and Pearl were also brilliant on screen. There's a few issues. One was the Victorian soldiers being on Mars. I find that quite far-fetching, and the TARDIS suddenly materialising out of nowhere, which I hope Moffat clears us up, because otherwise it'll just be a pothole and it'd be lazy writing. And Missy, I'm starting to think that she's another Time Lord and that she's not the Master, and that the real Master is hiding, but we'll just have to wait and see. So overall, a very good story, not the greatest, so I'll give a score of 8 out of 10.
Thank you very much, Joe.
8 out of 10. Yeah, again.
Another 8, yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy. Right, over on Facebook, Jeff Waddle says, by far and away the best story from Gatiss.
Good Lord.
References to classic Who overload, as well as references to new Who, classic horror films, and bank holiday films from my childhood. A Doctor Who Zulu Journey to the Centre of the Earth mashup. The Ice Warriors have never been better. And come on, the end with everyone's favourite phallic hexapod was a punch the air moment. Even better when you find out who voiced it. I didn't even realise it was the same lady, you know.
No.
That's amazing. He gave it 9 out of 10.
Wow, Jeff, impressed.
Leslie Shergold, have spent a lovely afternoon stomping round the house with my nephews doing Ice Warrior impressions. Yeah. He says, best episode of the Capaldi era for me, just because the way it watched all the way through, they got it, they understood it at a very basic level. Jacob was excited to see Romans in the Next Time trailer. Jacob is his nephew, by the way. And we could muck about and imitate the episode afterwards, which was lovely. Gattis delivered for me, finally this year, a show that understands it's a family show and not necessarily just drama. He said the boys loved that the Ice Warrior guns folded its victims into a parcel as well. He gives it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, I couldn't think how to describe it earlier. Yeah.
Let's do another audio clip. This is first time audio sender-inner. This is Martin Arnold.
Hello guys, love the show. Just thought I'd let you know that I thought the Empress of Mars was a cracker of an episode. Good to see the show get back to telling self-contained stories, although this time I think it could have probably been a really solid two-parter, just like they did with the Silurians back in the 11th Doctor's era. It's really great to see the Ice Warriors again. A full-on treat seeing Alpha Centauri. I dared to hope, and there he was in all her glory. Fantastic stuff. This is what the show needs, I think, to get back to this sort of thing. Hopefully it'll continue. Jelly babies all round. Pip pip.
Hey, thank you, Martin.
Jelly babies indeed. Let's kick off our last audio clip. This is from Jay Kent.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're having a nice day. Now, Empress of Mars was a golden little nugget of fun, in my opinion. From the first scene where the Doctor and Bill had banter bouncing off each other, I knew I'd love it. It felt like a proper Who episode. No pretentious monologues or gritty and real scenarios. Just Victorians on Mars, and that sounds ridiculous, but isn't that the whole point of Who, to balance ridiculousness and drama? There were some brilliant characters with decent arcs, and I loved it all. You could tell Gattis had a blast writing this one, and it definitely shows. There were a few bits in it that did turn it down a few pegs, like whatever was going on with the TARDIS, but apparently Moffat ordered the script to be rewritten to include Nardole in it for whatever reason, and as always Moffat ruins a decent story. But genuinely it is an enjoyable episode, and I could watch it time and time again. I give Empress of Mars 8 out of 10. See you next week, guys, and God save the Queen!
Thank you, Jay.
Nice one, Jay. Thank you very much. Right, the last few on Facebook. Rob Kernick says, incredible. Gattis has done it again. Incredibly well thought out story, amazing characters, great everything. Classic Who mixed with new. Sad to see Nardole go for this episode, but he wouldn't have really filled a role, even if he was in it. 9.5. Lewis Palmer, really enjoyed it. The Ice Warriors were used really well, and I like that the ending was pretty much a happy one for all the characters. I think it's going to be one that I'll return to often. 7 out of 10. Jake Birdwhistle says, I missed the first 2 minutes because I had the telly on mute and I was on my phone, which annoyed me, but I like this episode. Not Mark's best, but a good episode. Some of the characters felt a bit 2D, though Catchlove was a stereotypical idiot who was an arse to everyone. I liked the Ice Queen. Her design was brilliant. That cameo from Alpha Centauri was amazing. But something that annoyed me about this episode was the fact that people were judging it before it even aired because of Mark's previous shambles, Sleep No More, and look how much we were dreading Smile, because Frank's previous episode was terrible. It turned out semi-decent. He gives it a 7.5.
Thanks. I'm just laughing because I like the word shambles.
Shambles. Yeah. Jason Thayer enjoyed it, especially that cameo from Alpha Centauri. Some great scares, and Gattis doing what he does best, writing a fun story. 8 out of 10. Cool. Miles McKenzie, simple, easy to follow, fun, classic story. This would pass for a classic Doctor Who from the 70s any day. Peter, Pearl and Matt were great, as always, and Missy turning good is such an interesting plot. 9.5.
Oh, very high.
Finn Morris, Finn Morris Young, interesting concept, but lacking in some parts. 6 out of 10.
Oh dear, Finn.
And lastly, Martin Arnold, who sent in the audio clip, also jumped on Facebook and simply said, loved it.
Loved it.
Anything on the Geeks Handbag page?
Yeah, I had a couple on the old geeks. So we had Charlie Turner gave me lots of in his review, and he gives it an 8.5 out of 10. Cheers, Charlie. He really liked it. Martin Asquith said, stunning episode, and yes, Alpha Centauri. Robert James Billingham also said, brilliant cameo from Alpha Centauri. Matt Vernon said it was much better than he expected. Good fun. Ben Tabner said it was amazing. David Wakefield, yeah, pretty entertaining. So, don't know, a bit in the middle there. Kevin Mullen thought it was outstanding, quite possibly one of the best Ice Warrior stories since Seeds of Death. Certainly Mark Gatz's best. He says he gives it a 9 out of 10. Dean Jones wasn't sure what to expect, but he thought the Ice Warriors were great. He gives it an 8 out of 10. Mark Daniel Maloney, solid episode, old school, he says. Nice to see the Ice Warriors back. Paul, I read this as Peter Davison. It's Paul Davidson with a D. Says amazing. He got goosebumps when I heard that voice. I think he's talking about Alpha Centauri. Scott Gerard says, apart from the big cameo, he thought it was just okay. And finally, Elliot Beasley. Yeah, he thought it was a bit naff. Elliot Beasley sent me a lovely long review. I'll just read out the main points. He thought it was a very fun watch, very refreshing after the Monk trilogy. He thought that finally, after all these years, we get to see the upright crocodiles on their home planet. He enjoyed Cold War, their first appearance in Modern Who, so had quite high hopes for this episode, and he says it didn't disappoint. He also mentions the Queen Victoria painting that I did earlier. He says overall it wasn't as good as the Seeds of Death, but it was still a solid episode, 8.5 out of 10. So mainly positive. And finally, I'll just go to my little Twitter poll, which I love doing every week, which I thought was quite positive this week. So we had 6% thought it was poor, 18% thought it was average, 38% said it was good, and 38% said it was excellent. So most of these episodes so far on this poll have been getting the highest majority in excellent, which is very good news for Doctor Who. But this week, kind of a bit more evened out. So yeah, but overall, very, very good response for this episode, I think. Really I think a lot of people mainly surprised that I think Jake said a lot of people perhaps had judged it before it aired because it was Mark Gatiss after his last episode. So maybe a lot of people were just relieved that we got a very straightforward, decent story this week.
No, I think that's often the case. If a writer's done a few clangers, then you sometimes judge it. But no, overall, very positive, this one.
Yes.
So thank you all for sending in your audio clips and your thoughts and reviews. And I think we'll do there for 146.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us through episode 146. It's been great talking through Who, as always. Not a fan of some of the news this week. I must say that confirmed closing date has just made it real.
Yeah.
You know, because up to this point it was always that tiny little chance that, you know, Cardiff Council were going to extend the lease or they were going to move it somewhere else. But to hear that the final date is now there it's made it real.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But otherwise, some good stuff. Let us know if you pick up the tickets to the special screening of episode 11 over in Cardiff. That would be great. Really hope you guys, some of our listeners, bagged in some tickets. I know it's a bit of a strange one. Only 15 pairs available, but fingers crossed for you guys that you get some. Thank you so much for sending in your audio clips. Really appreciate that you guys take the time out to do that. Anyone that hasn't sent in an audio clip before, just do it. All you've got to do is pick up your smartphone. I think most of them, Apple, Samsung, all of them, you can just record basic audio. So just throw your thoughts in an audio clip and email it over. We'd love to hear your voice on the podcast. And to all those guys that chat away on Facebook and Twitter and give us your thoughts. That's really cool. So thank you so much for doing that each and every week. We love you. We love you. Yes. So head over to the website www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of the previous shows on there. Plus you can link off to all the social stuff and give us a like and a follow. That'd be great. And there's also subscription links on there. So if you're an iTunes listener or whoever else, Android, podcast, whatever, just click the link and away you go. And if you are an iTunes listener, a review or a rating would be awesome, because that helps us out loads. Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag. Yay! Just do a search for The Geek's Handbag on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all that. Some great stuff on there. Superb videos. You'll get lost in it. Once you watch one video, a train starts and that's it. So check out Adam's channel. So enjoy the Eaters of Light this Saturday and our review of that next week. Until then,
Monroe.
My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...